Steven Silverman here. I want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to prepare your family's estate plan and the trust that you've put in us. You've been provided a red binder for your estate plan. Either we've prepared the whole binder and the documents were already put in it, or you received the binder and then subsequently you got your documents in the mail. If you receive them in the mail, they've already had the holes punched and they're in order. So all you have to do is put them in the binder. This video will go through each tab of the binder and explain what document is there and why you should need that document or not in a particular circumstance. Not everyone will have the exact same documents in their binder. It may be that in your case, a particular document was not needed or was not appropriate for you. In this video, we're only showing one document per type, as opposed to if there's a husband and wife having two wills, for example. There will only be one of each shown. You can also stop this video at any point and go back and watch something earlier if you have still questions on something and you weren't sure. This is available for you as a resource. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact our office so we can assist you. Thank you again. This is a typical cover page that will be the first page in your binder. If you do not have a cover page, it should be somewhere in the binder and it's out of place. We recommend that you put this back as the first page, just in case something happens and people need to find your documents. If they don't see the cover page, they might look at this and then not realize this has important papers in it. This is your trust information page. We jokingly call this your cheat sheet. This is put as page 2 in your binder for the reason that sometimes people need to quickly see how they should sign their name on the trust or how something should be titled. We've put this as page 2 because it has all of the key essential information that you might need to look at very quickly. And this way you do not have to go and look through each document to find this information. This is your table of contents, a traditional table of contents that just gives you a quick description of what each document and each tab contains behind it. The Introduction tab has a place where if you decide to move some of the originals outside of the binder and put them somewhere else, such as a safe or a safe deposit box, you should write in here where you've done that so that in the event something happens, people will know to look in that place for the original of a document. In addition, you can list any people who you've provided copies to here as well. The Overview tab is where your trust summary is located. If you look closely, you will see here that the trust summary follows your trust article by article. We always recommend to our clients that they start reading the trust summary first before they attempt to actually read their trust document. The trust document is significantly longer. As you will look in your book, the trust summary is usually somewhere between 6 to 10 pages depending on your estate plan. And if you have a question on the summary, you can just quickly go into the actual trust itself by looking at that particular article. This tab is for your living trust. This is where your living trust is located. It's the biggest document in your binder and can be quite sizable. This is the cover page for your typical living trust. You will then find a table of contents right after that, which you can look at to see exactly what page something that you're interested in seeing is located on. and then you will have the actual trust document itself. Remember, this will also correspond with your trust summary, so you can refer back and forth to them. This tab will have where your original will is located. Since you only have one original last will and testament, you need to be careful with this document. Please make sure if you remove it from the binder, you put it somewhere that it can be easily found and located and someone knows where it is. And here's a typical first page of someone's last will and testament. The Nominations tab holds a very important document that makes things much easier for you. It has the confirmation of names. This is the document that has in one place all of the people that you've named in your estate plan, whether they are in your family, involved as a trustee, involved in your durable power of attorney or your various medical documents, and also the personal representatives of your estate. Depending on your particular circumstance, you might have many more people involved. This is an example of one place that you can just quickly find who did you appoint to a particular position without having to actually read that whole document. The Personal Information tab has documents that you've provided to us and asked or requested that they be put in the binder. Most of the time we provide your documents back to you separately, so there may or may not be this tab in your binder. The funding instructions part of your binder is a section that if you're going to use your own ability and skill to do funding of your documents, here's how. It's general information, and we generally take care of this for our clients if they're in our family continuing care program. You are welcome to do this yourself, but we recommend that you consult with us a lot of times because these may be complicated matters and they need to be done properly. Please feel free to consult us if you have any questions regarding this, but we have this here for additional information for you. This next section is where your power of attorney is located. The power of attorney is a very, very important document in your estate plan, and it comes into effect generally when you're incapacitated or unable to handle your affairs. There's a lot of issues with these documents if they're not used properly, so you must be extra careful with who you've selected. The document looks something like this as the first page. And then there's a key page at the end, which is where your agent would have signed accepting their role as the agent under your power of attorney. If your agent has not signed this, please follow up on this, because otherwise it could affect the enforceability of the power of attorney. The certificate of trust is another important document, and it makes dealing with your trust much easier. We don't want you to give your trust out to everybody. The original trust has a lot of private information as to who your beneficiaries are and what they may be receiving. That's personal, and as most institutions don't need it. We've prepared a 2 or 3 page certificate of trust for you, which is a quick summary of anything that any bank or institution or anybody need to see most of the time with your trust. The certificate of trust has the information as to who the grantors, trustees of the trust are. In addition, it sometimes has the names of the successor trustees as to who's to serve, and that has who is Social Security number is used for the trust as its identification number for taxes, and it has other information that would be helpful and make it so that you do not have to provide the whole trust to any institution. The Trust Asset tab is before certain papers that we would put in here. For example, An assignment of your personal property into the trust is usually put here. In addition, if we've recorded a deed of property into your trust, we might have put this in here too. The healthcare tab is where your medical documents are located. The first one is probably your living will. The second one is probably your healthcare power of attorney. And the third is your authorization for release of your information, also called the HIPAA form. The Memorial Instructions tab is really something that you do and complete for yourself, and we don't ever get a copy of, but it's very important that you consider doing this. You have a page that deals with how you want to have your funeral arrangements. It's a shorter form and it's there for you. There's also a much longer form that's called Remembrance and Services Memorandum. This is a more recent form. We've only started doing it since the beginning of 2020. If anyone wants it, please feel, and it's not in your binder, you can certainly contact us and we can prepare this for you. But this is something that it provides you an opportunity to make clear what you want done at your funeral, and this is something you should think about if you have any preferences, because here's where they need to be expressed. And the most important part is you need to tell somebody to look for this, and this is where it is. Otherwise it could be too late before anyone ever finds this. This tab called Property Agreements is a tab we don't always use, but in case you have some property that's in the trust that you have an arrangement with other people, we might have possibly had an agreement and put it in here for you. The Personal Effects tab is where we have a very important document for family harmony. We've put your personal property memorandum here. This is for you to fill out on your own. We don't ever get a copy because you can always change it. This is where you deal with your personal property, and it's a very important thing that you list this down. Very often, families end up having huge fights, sometimes very serious ones, over personal property that we might not think has any value or significance. On the other hand, if mom or dad put the personal property memorandum and covered that item, no one has ever argued that, and it's there and there's no fighting or any disputes on that. You can always update this. There's several pages in here. You can go into the disk or the flop memory stick that we gave you, and you can get the original Word document, and then you can always change it and do whatever you want with it. Please prepare this. It's very important for family peace and harmony. Thank you very much for listening to our presentation. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact our office. Our contact information is on the bottom screen.